3 liters of water all into it. Then that magnet will blow out early. It contains a ton of fluids, perfect for the what you make. Finally, the whole works have continued. Ready for its planned overnight 16-hour session in the smoke.
Okay, wait. No, it doesn't fit. It won't even fit. That's
Well,
like not
wait.
gonna sit down. Oh, you have a different smoker? I was ignoring the whole time. Yes, nice and easy. Unbelievable. Where there is a will, there's a way. We are getting this done. We had to modify the whole smoker, but it's happening.
All right, family. So it's time to talk about wrestling. I had to watch wrestling on my computer because of a house full of children. All right?
The moment has come, the world's largest
So,
right here before me. Mark, you've done it.
I did watch AEW and I watched NXT. I watched both shows.
These are the world's largest buffalo wings. First poached until they're cooked all the way through.
Okay. So let's start with AEW. So I got to see most of AEW. I didn't get to see the beginning of AEW. So I'm not sure of what happened in the beginning. But I saw that Brandy Rhodes announced her pregnancy. So congratulations to Brandy and Cody. I did see that. I saw Eddie Kingston come out and cut a small promo before Ray Phoenix and I can't think of his name. Oh, so bad. Before Ray Phoenix. Did you see it? She saw it. Ew, that's gross. Before the Lucha Brothers came out there with Pac for whatever reason, well, that was after Lance Archer attacked Eddie Kingston and his crew, and that's when Butcher and Blade came out there, and everything went to absolute shit. They fought. I don't watch AEW, but congrats to Brandy Rhodes on the pregnancy. Yes, well, congrats. He's awake again. He going back to sleep. I will. I'm not playing. Now, hey, Kenny. Okay, so what else happened? Miro cut a promo. I didn't really pay attention enough to see what Miro said. I didn't care. That's terrible, but it's true. Cody Rhodes had a match. I don't know who he was having a match against, but he had a match and he went up against someone, and Darby Allin and Sting came out there later on. But more importantly, Taz with his whole team of idiots were cutting a promo against Cody, congratulating him on his win. Where I was confused was I wanted to understand who this particular person was that was out there with them. It was a guy. He had on a hat. He had on urban streetwear. It was weird. I was like, who is this? I needed to know who that particular person was, but they never really announced it. I don't know who that person was, so I'm just going to say there was about 4 dudes in this little crew, and Taz and them tried to attack Cody. The lights went out and Sting appeared again. A wild Sting appeared. Pretty much it went off with them having this standoff with Darby. It was Angelico. Okay. Well, the person he went up against really doesn't matter to me. It was more so about the 2 crews, you know. So it was Angelico. Okay. He lost. Cody beat Angelico. I think that's how you say his name. Am I saying his name right? I want to make sure I say his name right. So they had that match. There was a promo cut against him by Taz. To me, it was a very weak promo. It could have been better. Taz has said and is known to be better than that. But Will Hobbs was out there along with Ricky Starks and of course Brian Cage, and there was some other dude with them, and I don't know who they were. I'm looking at this guy and I still don't know who he is. I can't picture who he is or understand who he is. But whatever. They got ready to fight. Sting came out there. Darby was in the wings, basically just sitting there. You know, I'm saying it right? Okay, cool. Let me put he said it was Angelico, and I said his name right. Awesome. So they were in the wings and they were waiting. Darby was sitting up at the top just staring down at the men, and Sting was down there on the ramp. And Arn Anderson was in there with Cody. To this day, I still don't understand that dynamic, but y'all do with it what you will. There was an 8-man tag team match. The Inner Circle team is who won this particular match. I don't know who it was against because I didn't get to see it. I know that Top Flight was in that match, and that's it. I don't remember the other team or the other aspect of the team. I was very confused about that part. So either way, Jericho's team ended up picking up the win in that match. It was okay. It was an okay match. It wasn't the best, but it was an okay match. Thunder Rosa cut a promo today against Britt Baker, and Britt Baker and her minion attacked the girl and poured water all over her face and erased her face paint, which is uber disrespectful. I don't have nothing to give you. There you go. Stole it. It's thievery. Habit of cheering. Anyway, after that, I saw the Acclaimed go up against SCU. Can I finish doing what I'm doing, please? Can I finish? The Acclaimed went up against SCU. I believe the Acclaimed won. I'm telling you right now, the rhymes the dude in the Acclaimed cut are weak. I don't like the way he rap. His rap is corny, and that's all. He doesn't have a good flow. It's not fun to listen to. He's boring. I like the way they wrestle. Their wrestling is great, but you got big ass headphones coming out there like you want some 8 Mile type shit, and you're corny. It's the best way to put it is you're corny, bro. Anyway, moving on. I'm probably missing some stuff. I did say Miro cut a promo. And FTR and Tully Blanchard came out there and were upset that Jurassic Express was getting an opportunity to go up against them, I guess. They were mad. They feel like they're in their way. They cut a promo, and they did it towards the announcers team, which I was confused about, but whatever. And next week, they're going to have a match against Jurassic Express, I think. And it's supposed to be like it's a holiday bash because they're having that match right before Christmas Eve. Their show will air before Christmas Eve. So anyway, final match of the night, or the final aspect of the night that I actually saw, was Joey Janela with Sonny Kiss going up against Kenny Omega. I did not know this was supposed to be a hardcore style match. It could be because I missed it on commentary. Don Callis came out there with him, and Don Callis is annoying. He's severely annoying. Annoying to the point where I had to mute the TV. And then he grabbed the microphone, and during the match with Kenny Omega, they both were yelling in the microphone. One was bigging up Kenny Omega, and the other was basically berating Joey Janela while whooping his ass. And I'm just sitting there like, okay. What I found to be, am I crazy, or was Rich Swann and the Motor City Machine Gun supposed to be there today? Because if they showed up, I missed it. I missed it. Somebody tell me in the comments, whether you're watching this in the replay or you're watching this right now live. Somebody tell me where were they? Why didn't they show up in you know what happened? You know what I'm saying? Uh-oh, I'm being hailed. where were they at? You know what I'm saying? Like, what's going on? Hold on a second, y'all.
I didn't know it started.
Can you turn it down, please?
Oh, I didn't know.
All right. So, anyways, I did send a message out on my Instagram that I was going live today. Let me make sure everybody can see it. Okay, so is that the boy's name, Hook? Oh, girl. She said, girl, you know, I don't know. I don't know. Child. Okay, well, some of y'all who in here don't know whether they're supposed to. The rumor was Rich Swann and the Motor City Machine Guns from Impact were supposed to be at AEW today.
That's what I said.
And hold on a second, y'all. That was the rumor. And the reason why is because yesterday on Impact, Kenny Omega and Gallows and Anderson attacked Rich Swann and the Motor City Machine Guns. You know that Gallows and Anderson are currently the Impact Tag Team Champions. Cool, whatever. But Gallows and Anderson were also supposed to appear on AEW tonight. And I don't know if that got cut from on the showroom floor because of time purposes. But quite frankly, they could have cut out that long-ass 8-man tag team match that they had to put that in there. Because that match, that little altercation would also lead to another altercation probably next week on Impact on Tuesday. But more specifically, it would help lead into Hard to Kill, which they're supposed to have Kenny Omega versus Rich Swann and
Thursday.
Gallows and Anderson and Kenny Omega versus, we said Thursday night.
It's supposed to be Thursday.
We said, oh my God. Where you going? It's supposed to be Kenny Omega.
We coming Thursday.
It's supposed to be Kenny Omega and what the hell is the name of the other team? Y'all are making me mess up. I can't concentrate.
Go over there so Uncle Jay can fix it for you.
What is the name of the other team? It's Kenny Omega and Gallows and Anderson versus Rich Swann and the Motor City Machine Guns. They are supposed to have a match at the Impact pay-per-view Hard to Kill. So my thing is, why did y'all go through this whole rigmarole of doing all this stuff on Impact and really making Impact look really bad with the promos Tony Schiavone and not just Tony Schiavone, but the promos Tony Schiavone cut, the promos that Tony Khan is cutting with them, and then Kenny Omega comes out looking great with the owner at his side of Impact. The big guy of Impact is at his side looking like a king next to another company's champion. That don't really go. That's not okay. Like, that looks very bad. And then that next day when you have your show, everything is AEW focused. Nothing is about Impact. That is a lopsided deal, my G. Like, Impact, you got the short end of the stick. But here's my thing, Trevon, though. If it was all about time, right? It's all about time. That big ass match you had with the Inner Circle did not have to happen. You could have easily taken that match out and just went for a smaller match. Hold on a second. One second, y'all. I'm just making sure everybody knows where I'm at. All right. I had to make sure I shared it so that everybody knew I was on live or whatever. Okay, so here we go. That just seems out of place, and it was just not necessary. Um, you put a whole match in the middle of this show for nothing. Miro got a time straight. Like you could have done more in the time allotted than what you did, and you gave Kenny Omega a whole match with Joey Janela for what? Like I'm trying to understand the logic behind it. I'm trying to understand what's going on here, and quite I can't quite put my finger on what's happening here, but it just seems like there was no reason for it, and you didn't really try to make sure that everybody was clear on what, like, at least on us fans, the casual fans. Damn, it seems like that match was hella long. That's why I don't watch AEW. Well, here's the thing with AEW. I actually happened to enjoy some of the matches that AEW had. The match with Joey Janela was fine. I thought Kenny had a nice spot with Janela with the chair. It was good. Here's where I'm having an issue. It's your odd, weary, it's a wonky ass booking that you have, and the wavering of your stories that, to me, they don't end up making any sense. Like, you have a whole thing going with the Inner Circle, and you have them competing in these big ass massive matches. You've got MJF a part of the Inner Circle now, and the only thing that people have alluded to is MJF causing a breakup for Lord have mercy, for the Inner Circle, possibly. And it's just like, okay, I gotta have substance so I can understand what's happening here. What I really wanted was for them to have Rich Swann and the Motor City Machine Gun show up and actually do something. Hey, songstress.
All right.
I wanted them to show up and do something, and they didn't. That was very, very disappointing, and it really leads me to believe that Impact is getting the short end of the stick here. They're not getting they're not getting a good aspect of the deal, which is not fair because they truly deserve the best of the best. You know what I'm saying? Impact has been doing their own thing in their little corner for a while. They ain't been bothering nobody. They've been putting on really good matches, decent pay-per-views. They've had some pretty good feuds, and not all of it is gimmicky. Some of it is pretty standard wrestling fare. Of course, they have their avant-garde storylines and what have you, but for the most part, most of it has been pretty traditionalized wrestling. And then for AEW to strike this deal with Impact, and I don't know. I mean, I expected a little more give and take with what I'm seeing. And what I'm seeing from AEW is a lot of take. And the only thing that Impact is receiving is a boost in views once a week. And that's not enough for me in terms of what I would expect in a partnership like this. To me, this is the exact opposite of what you should do as a promotion when you want to align yourself with another promotion. Both promotions should be benefiting from the partnership equally, and it doesn't look that way. It looks like AEW is getting all the glory and all the fame, while Impact is just getting a couple boost ratings, which does nothing for their bottom line, at least to me. But y'all, when y'all watch the replay, y'all tell me what y'all think in the comments. I'm just gonna move on. That was pretty much Impact. I mean, pretty much AEW. Everything besides, they had a couple of women's matches. Like I said, they had a segment with Britt Baker and Thunder Rosa, and they also had Serena Deeb and Big Swole have a match on the show. I'm not sure who won that match because for some reason my internet clicked out and I ended up losing the spot of where I watched that match. So whoever won that match, congrats to you. From what I saw, it was a pretty good match. I may go back and watch it later. So let's move on to NXT. They put on Leon Ruff and Kushida's match with Johnny Gargano and what's his name? Austin Theory, the ass tickler. They put him they put an ass tickler and Gargano up there first, up against Leon Ruff and Kushida. And it was a decent match. Leon Ruff really performed. And I think a lot of people sleep on Leon Ruff, but he really performed. He did not end up picking up the win in this match. Leon Ruff made an error in the match due to some really good tag teaming between Theory and Gargano, which you have to give them credit. They did have a decent tag team. Okay, so please don't turn that up. If you want to watch that, go upstairs and watch it. Any whoosies. Y'all, it was a good little bit of tag team trickery between the two, and they was able to, change out who was the legal man in that match, which ended up allowing Leon Ruff to pin Gargano, but he wasn't the legal man. It was Theory, which gave
No, you should give me a.
Are y'all done?
No, you should give me a.
Which gave Theory and Gargano the opportunity to pick up the win. For the most part, the show was pretty decent too. You saw Xia Li and Boa's story arc continuing. This time, you saw Xia Li having to beat the crap out of Boa. I actually like this. It's very, very Ra's al Ghul. AJ, is that his name from Batman? It's very much like the what are their names? What's the name of Ra's al Ghul's? The League of Assassins. It's very much League of Assassins like, so I was like, okay, now I understand what's going on here. Now, a lot of people think that the woman that is, their leader or their de facto person is Karen Q. If you don't know who Karen Q is, look her up. She was a part of NXT for a little while, but I think she disappeared for a little bit. Haven't seen her since. But she may be on the verge of coming back with this faction with Xia Li and Boa, which I like Xia Li. I think Xia Li is one of the best superstars they had. I'm glad they're starting to use her and Boa. They most definitely need to use both of them. And if Karen Q's back, then good for Karen. I want to see what she's capable of. But I like those cinematic scenes they have of them training them to become those. I guess they're going to become, super soldiers or whatever the case may be. I'm very curious as to where this is going to go. But the cinematic stuff about it and the way that they're breaking them down is very, very interesting to me. And I like watching it. So those aspects of the show I love when it comes to Xia Li and Boa. Let's go into Ciampa going up against Tyler Rust, I believe his name is. Ciampa beat him. It was a pretty decent match between him and Rust. Although Thatcher did attempt to cause the distraction, it didn't work. And when Thatcher left, or I don't know how he left, but I happened to look away for a second and Thatcher was gone or he wasn't there. I don't remember if Thatcher, well, he did come out there, but I can't remember if he, got dragged out or if he was removed or what it was. But when Ciampa won, he picked up Thatcher's t-shirt and wiped his face with it. And then he ended up going and Thatcher was in the back and he was really pissed about it. And he was trying to fight, but Ciampa was taunting him, and that's how that went down. So I imagine that New Year's Eve, Thatcher and Ciampa will have another bout, and probably this time Thatcher will pick up the win for that. Meanwhile, Tyler Rust is being backed by Malcolm Bivens, who's looking for a new client. And of course, Bivens told him he's a star, so he's going to be out there with him, being his mouthpiece for him, and that's kind of cool. Moving into the next one, Shotzi Blackheart went against Indy Hartwell. Indy Hartwell ended up losing the match due to disqualification, if I recall. They attacked Shotzi as a team. Again, the Gargano way went out there and just beat up the girl, and Shotzi was on her own. I'm really hoping Shotzi gets some get back. She's been on a losing streak for quite a while, even before. Like before that, she wasn't getting the best looks except for her win to get the advantage at Takeover War Games. But Shotzi deserves a little bit more get back than this, so I really hope that eventually Shotzi has some good luck coming her way and they book her better, because I really like Shotzi and she puts on great matches. Okay, Karrion Kross returned. They put him up against, I don't remember the guy's name, which you weren't supposed to remember the guy's name. They had Kross out there. They had Kross out there having a match, and everything pretty much went with Karrion Kross winning. That was the gist of that match. Kross won. Period. He won and was supremely dominant during that match. And it was meant to showcase what Kross is still capable of. And he made sure to include Damian Priest as his next target at New Year's Evil. So it's going to be Priest versus Kross at New Year's Evil. As far as I know, Priest was not a part of NXT this week due to the fact that last week Kross took him out and put his ass through some stuff on the side of the stage, and they say he had broken ribs. And I'm not quite sure if that's necessarily true, but he may have been just, a little bumped and bruised up. But we'll see at New Year's Evil who comes out on top. I imagine it would be Karrion Kross. I don't think for a minute they would have Damian Priest beat him. But he's going to give him a good run for his money. Now, the big match today that I really liked was O'Reilly versus Pete Dunne. Can you take him upstairs so he can be changed, please? Now, O'Reilly versus Pete Dunne was a very, very good match. It was awesome. If you haven't seen it, I definitely think you should go back on NXT and watch it when they put the replay up for Hulu. And if they put the match up on YouTube, you should definitely watch it on YouTube. It's a very, very good match. The end of the match was great. O'Reilly ended up picking up the win for this match. So he is going to challenge the Prince, Finn Balor. At New Year's Evil, it's going to be Riley versus Finn Part 2. And, of course, it's going to be a good match. O'Reilly and Finn put on an amazing match at the last TakeOver before TakeOver War Games. So expect it to be just as great, if not greater, at this particular show, NXT New Year's Evil. So the last thing that we should talk about is the final aspect of the show, which was Toni Storm versus Rhea Ripley. Now, for whatever reason, with Dakota being back in having issues with Dakota being out and having to deal with some of her issues that she's taking care of, I guess Raquel doesn't have anything else to do. So they decided to put Raquel back on Rhea Ripley. Now, I'm confused about that because they had a match with Rhea Ripley. They battled. It was a good match. I don't take anything from Raquel or Rhea Ripley because that match was great between the both of them.
Put her charges back on the thing. Sit it on top of the thing.
I don't take anything from either one of them, but here's the thing. I feel like they didn't have to double back with Raquel and send her back to Rhea Ripley. They could have very easily had her go up against Io Shirai and start the feud with her and Io Shirai. I don't think she needed to double back with Rhea Ripley. They could have kept Ripley on Toni Storm and had them fight at New Year's Evil, but I feel like they're going to have Raquel fight Rhea Ripley at New Year's Evil. She's probably going to beat Rhea Ripley at New Year's Evil, and then she will move into Io Shirai. But she could have just moved into Io Shirai. She got the pin at War Games. It doesn't make sense to me why they doubled back with her, but that's such is the case with them. It was a good match. I didn't have a problem with the match, but they ended it when they pretty much had Raquel interfere and cost Rhea Ripley the match. That was the end of the show. Both shows were okay. It was nothing to write home about. AEW was fine. It moved, it shaped, it did whatever. It was just all over the place, and I needed it to consolidate and just give me a vein of what I'm supposed to be watching, and it wasn't doing that, and I was very, very lost and confused. I still am trying to figure out what is going on here. Now, NXT, they have a pretty much, when they're doing their show, they have a goal. They're usually working up towards something, or they're beginning the stages of leading to something. They had Cole and Strong out there when Pete Dunne and O'Reilly had their match. They got into a fight with the tag team champions. They ended up fighting all the way to the back. So that left Dunne and O'Reilly to actually put on the classic match that they had. And it was a good match. Pete got beat fair and square by O'Reilly. And it's going to be O'Reilly versus Balor again at NXT EVIL. Now, NXT New Year's EVIL is going to consist of several matches. They haven't announced any women's matches yet, but as I said, I suspect Raquel's going to be the one to go up against Io Shirai. If it's not her, it's going to be somebody else who's going to go up against Io Shirai. But Raquel's probably going to end up going up against Rhea Ripley. More than likely, she will go up against Rhea Ripley. And then later on down the line, more than likely next year, at the bigger takeover, Raquel will end up having a match with Io Shirai, and they'll start their rivalry in January. I don't know, man. They were okay shows. They weren't something that I, definitely needed to see. It wasn't something that was like must-see TV. It was okay. It could have been better. I don't know, y'all. Ow! And I have a house full of people. So there's that. So y'all tell me what y'all think. Did you guys watch AEW? Did you watch NXT? What do you think is going to happen? Did you like the shows? What did you like about them? What did you hate about them? Don't forget to rate, comment, and subscribe. I'm going to go because there's a 2-year-old in here that needs to go back to bed, and he's awake. So I'm going to go and take care of that, and I will talk to you guys later.